All right, well, welcome to News 6 Extra. I am Christopher Heath. It is Thursday. I almost said Tuesday. It's Thursday, October the 2nd. We are 2 days into October. I was at the store yesterday. They have the pumpkins out. They also have the cinnamon sticks out. Kathleen, it is starting to, maybe not outside, but it is starting to feel a little more fall-like and festive, at least at the Winn-Dixie I went to.
It is. No, around my house, it's looking very fall and festive. I just need the weather to kind of catch up with that.
Yeah, though the weather's going to be the big question because this weekend traditionally is when I dragoon my sons into going out into the garage with me and getting all the tubs of Halloween stuff out so we can start decorating. And it looks as if it may be too rainy for that. We can definitely do inside, make it nice and spooky.
Well, yeah. Do you do like spooky, or is it more like fun? Spooky?
There's no fun. Yes, there is no Dana, only Zool. Yeah, there is no fun. It's all tricks, no treats.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I got two boys that are, one's a teenager now, one's about to be. So they're, they want the kind of scary stuff. Now we do have, like, my wife has a little thing that says, a witch lives here with her two little goblins, and I'm like, okay. And she's got this other thing that says everything nice and pumpkin spice, and so those kind of things. Yes, those will be up there. But like Ben, my youngest, will do a whole table of like bones and severed hands, and he's got this little jar thing that looks like it's got a brain in it, and he has this little red light he sometimes will put under it to like give it a little backlight and make it all spooky.
Wow. Yeah.
So
do you put that out for the trick-or-treaters when they come up?
No, that's inside the house.
Inside.
Just if you're in the house, you get to see that. Outside the house, we'll do, we got a couple inflatables that go out there. We got some little spooky lights and, try and get it nice. And I got about a half dozen, tombstones to put out and light all those up. It's a whole production.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So maybe this weekend we will do that. You know who knows if we'll be able to do that?
David
Nazario. David, is this going to be a good weekend for me to be out in the yard putting up Halloween stuff? Or am I going to get soaked?
Be able to get away with some stuff on Sunday, but Saturday, definitely not so much. We've got some big-time rains headed our way and a bit of a tropical disturbance trying to show itself off our southeast coast.
Yes, I felt a great disturbance in the force. And then Candace in the morning meetings, she's like, yeah, you can get rid of that. You can get rid of that. Oh, we do have this coming our way. And I'm like, oh, fun times. Okay, so break it down for us. We've got a soggy forecast. But you know what? It's at least keeping the temperatures down. So silver lining.
Yeah, no, temperatures are most definitely going to be fairly tame, and I've got some headlines for everybody watching at home right now. For the next few days, we've got what are called training rains moving in, and when you hear the word training, they're not necessarily working out over your house or, lifting weights for the big event. No, they're running over top of you like a train on tracks. It's just moving directly overhead, same spot, same direction, and they'll rain down on you quite tremendously, which is why our flood potential will be elevated over the next few days, and Saturday and Sunday look even rainier than today and tomorrow. If we switch outside and go take a look at what our rainfall totals are doing, we're seeing that easterly onshore flow, and while some of the numbers there embedded within the data here, the villages, Leesburg, Orlando, I've kind of identified a couple spots that are missed by our observations. And if you notice, in Volusia County, we're pushing 4 inches of rain already over the last 24 hours. Same with portions of southern Volusia, upper Brevard, and eastern Seminole County getting up to 3 inches. And other areas are starting to see much of the same effects. And that's going to persist for the next few days ahead. We have an excessive rainfall outlook for the day today, and that expands in coverage into tomorrow. And we're going to continue to see that swath further expand, and not only north, but further west through our viewing area. When you switch over to the radar right now, This is kind of going to be what we see over the next 72 to 96 hours. There's going to be a lot of banding going on across our state. We've got combined efforts from a high pressure to our north, a bit of a stationary fragment of what's left of a front that came down, forced in by that high pressure in Imelda a few days ago. And then on the tail end of that front, we've got that little area of low pressure trying to sling some extra moisture in. You can kind of see a little bit of that if you look towards the bottom right-hand corner of the screen here. I'll show you the overall setup right now. I've got winds overlaid. I've got a little bit of a drawing there that kind of shows you where that front is hanging out. You can see where the flow is helping to percolate a couple of additional thunderstorms, not only over central Florida, but if you trace that line off towards the east, you can kind of see it 1,000 miles away where that setup is. And then right along the tail, you can see that red L and the overlay from National Hurricane Center doing its thing there with a very low shot at development. But some of our models do like it. Not going to lie, we're going to continue that feed of tropical moisture over us, at least until about Monday. Rain chances will continue to go up and up through today and then the rest of the weekend. And we got to watch that tropical disturbance. Regardless of development, it's going to be rainy and windy. You can see the winds out there right now really helping to push that stuff right over the state. We're not really going to be changing this very much over the next few days. We're going to continue to see that prevailing flow from our east coast, which also means despite the rain out there, if you still want to try to get outside, try to beat the showers as they rampage on through the state, the waters right up against the coast and the winds right at the beaches are going to be somewhat hostile. But as we'd mentioned, temperatures outside, look at that, fairly tame. You'd think we were looking at overnight lows. Kissimmee at 73 right now, Claremont, Leesburg, Ocala also at 73, Wildwood at 70 degrees, and that's temperatures right now. I promise I don't have this dorked up and I'm not showing you the low temps. That is the temperature outside right now. And I also wanted to show you the dew point because despite that moisture working in, if you notice, we're still battling some of that lingering dry air that's trying to sneak further in from the west. And I do think that's why we're not really looking at thunderstorms at all for the next few days. It's mainly just going to be continuous batches of rain. I do have the forecast highs up for you, but I really don't think a lot of us are going to get into the mid 80s today, especially if you are seeing continuous batches of rain coming across your area. These are your rain chances for today. We're going to continue to see them rocking through. And then into tomorrow, notice that we really begin to hug the coastline as that disturbance tries to become a little bit better organized. Now, taking you hour by hour, this is what it looks like. And I think, once again, our computer model, our in-house model is kind of struggling with this. If you notice, it shows a lot of the rain off towards the south, and that's just not quite where we're seeing it. So to give you all a little help out there watching from home, let me pull out my analysis tools here, and bear with me. And I promise I won't take up too much more of your time. Take what you can see that's down here and move it just to the north, more on the north side of our Four Corners counties from Volusia, Lake Sumter, Southern Marion, and then later on into today, I do think we get a little bit more into Osceola and Polk. So planning the rest of your day, got to watch the rain. It definitely comes down in pretty strong spurts when it does, and then begins to taper off as the sun begins to set. What sun is actually out there? That's the kicker there. We really don't have too much sun for the day today. So that's going to be one thing that helps to limit not only the extra showers and storms, but going to keep the temperatures fairly mild for today, tomorrow, and through the weekend. And then, of course, hurricane season is still in full effect. We're going to continue to watch these two spots, the one directly over us, as well as another wave out in the Atlantic. Next couple names on the list are going to be Jerry and Karen. Going to be watching ever so slightly to see whether or not they get off the ground within the next 7 days. I do think it's very possible we try to run that second hand of the list all the way through. These are your tropical probabilities. Just wanted to show you the color coding, shading of a couple of areas that we're watching. And then we'll go ahead and close out with your 7-day forecast. The rain chances are going to stay high. Make some extra plans, plans B and maybe even C for the weekend and into early next week, because it is going to be a very rainy pattern for Central Florida, despite the fact that we're trying to welcome fall and some drier air in as we get deeper into the month of October.
I mean, I have the welcome mat out already. It says fall is welcome. Please arrive, at least at my house. That'd be nice. All right, David,
Yeah, we all
thank you
got to
very
kind
much
of
for
come
breaking all that
together.
down. Right.
Oh,
If
of
all the
course, you're very
children at home will
welcome.
clap their hands, Tinkerbell will be alive and fall will arrive as well. So Anyway, thank you, David. Appreciate it as always. Well, meanwhile, the shutdown of the federal government is now into day two. The Senate is not in session today because of Yom Kippur. And so the earliest the Senate could take up business again would be tomorrow. And although it doesn't look very likely much will happen. And if it doesn't, then the Senate probably won't meet over the weekend, which means we're now rolling into Monday for the next time that the Senate could take anything up. Now, meanwhile, the House has been adjourned for several weeks now. The House passed a bill along party lines and then just went home. In fact, several members of our Florida delegation are actually in their respective districts today, meeting with people and doing interviews. So we'll hear from them coming up in a little bit. But eyes still remain fixated on Washington because two things are happening right now. One, as I mentioned, the federal government is shut down. Certain essential federal employees are still being required to go to work, but they're not going to be paid until the shutdown ends. It's important to point out, by the way, when the shutdown does end, they do get back pay. So there's no cost savings there. And as CBS's Natalie Brand reports, the White House is warning that if the shutdown continues, instead of just having people out of work, they're going to start laying off federal workers. Here's her story.
President Trump says today he'll meet with the head of the Office of Management and Budget to talk about further cuts of federal agencies as a result of the shutdown, posting, "I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity."
We're going to look at agencies that don't align with the administration's values that we feel are a waste of the taxpayer dollar. And look, unfortunately, these conversations are happening because we don't have any money coming into the federal government right now.
The administration has already targeted billions of dollars in funding for infrastructure projects in New York and threatened climate-related funding in more than a dozen blue states is next.
Sources tell CBS News the head of OMB told House Republicans on a call Wednesday that federal layoffs or reduction in force will happen in the next couple of days.
That's something that the Office of Management and Budget and the entire team at the White House here, again, is unfortunately having to work on today.
He just wants to impose pain on Americans because he thinks that Democrats actually care and that Democrats will be forced to back down.
Despite congressional leadership at a stalemate,
there's no negotiation right now.
There were signs Wednesday of bipartisan conversations among rank-and-file lawmakers trying to find a way forward.
There's a lot of bipartisan hope that we can make this shutdown as short and costless as possible.
No votes are scheduled today due to Yom Kippur, but votes are expected in the Senate on Friday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
One of the things to also keep in mind as you continue your conversations about this shutdown is that everyone knew this was coming. Like, this was not a secret as to how the budget works up in Washington, D.C. It's not like a couple of weeks ago, everyone was like, oh, no, we're running out of money. No, every member of the House, every member in the Senate, 435 in the House, 100 in the Senate, every single one of them knew for months that this date was coming. And the fact that we once again get to this point and have this brinksmanship where both sides get to point fingers and shut down the government and try and score political points and then now threaten layoffs is, I think, indicative of where things are at in Washington, D.C. All right, well, back here at home, Palm Bay is finding itself at the center of controversy yet again. A city councilman there took to social media to make some comments a couple of days ago. There was supposed to be a council meeting to address the comments he had made, but they couldn't get a quorum together. Tonight, though, there's expected to be a quorum, and as Mark Lehman explains, the council member is refusing to apologize, and all eyes will be on Palm Bay when it gavels in this afternoon.
I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and today Palm Bay leaders are set to discuss whether a city council member should be removed from office. Councilman Chandler Langevin is back in the hot seat for comments he made on social media about minority groups. Tonight, council members will be discussing if they want to ask Governor DeSantis to suspend Langevin from his position. There's been outrage since he made those controversial comments on social media, and the councilman is doubling down on those remarks. Today, calls are increasing for the suspension of Palm Bay Councilman Chandler Langevin in response to recent comments about Indian American immigrants. Earlier this week, Langevin took to social media saying, "There's not a single Indian that cares about the United States. They are here to exploit us financially." The remarks led to a meeting that failed to meet a quorum, but members of the Indian American community made their voices heard.
This is like a cancer We can't allow that in our community. This is ugly, this is unacceptable, and it must be stopped.
State Senator Debbie Mayfield now drafting this letter to Governor DeSantis requesting Langevin's suspension. The councilman responding in a post on X last night saying, "I'm pretty sure mean words do not meet statutory requirements for a suspension." Supporting a foreign invasion, on the other hand, Langevin is no stranger to controversial comments. Earlier this year, he was unapologetic after he said political ideology of Islam doesn't belong in the United States. And 2 weeks ago, he called an event in memory of Charlie Kirk that he organized a march against, quote, left-wing evil. With all the controversy from the recent remarks, today's meeting is expected to draw a lot of public comment, and that's set for 6 tonight. Mark Lehman, News 6.
In case you're wondering, there are 5.2 million Americans of Indian descent, and that is the second largest ethnic group in the United States. So very big contingency there. And obviously, we'll see what Palm Bay decides to do about the council members' comments. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back to talk about eating off the kids' menu, spooky things, and a rather pungent deodorant. It's all out on the other side of the break. All right, welcome back to News 6 Extra. I am Christopher Heath. We've done several reports on this show about how it seems like everything's getting more expensive. Inflation has been obviously something that we've been dealing with for several years now, and it's not gone anywhere. And whether we're talking about going to the grocery store, going on vacation, buying a new car, it's all gotten more expensive. But eating out is one of those areas where, when the economy's good, it's a nice treat to do it every once in a while. When the economy's bad, it becomes even more of a treat maybe to just go, if you can. And there's a way that some people have decided to try and save money when they're at the restaurant, and that is ordering off the kids menu, which isn't a problem, obviously, if you are a kid. But if you're just a kid at heart and in reality 46 years old, probably not such a good thing. Although you do save a little bit of money. Anyway, Nick Zekvik has this story.
If there's one thing diners are noticing, it's right there on the bill.
It seems inevitable. The prices seem to go up with everything.
The latest consumer price index shows food away from home rose 3.9% year over year, and full-service restaurant price increases far outpaced overall inflation.
Eating out is expensive. We all know that.
Many customers are downsizing. A new survey of 1,000 diners in the U.S. found almost half of adults 44% are ordering off the kids menu.
Of course, yeah. I love when they have a kids meal option.
Why do you do it?
Oh, because I feel like sometimes that's all I want.
Dining right now is definitely about value.
Adoniram Sides is Senior Vice President of Hospitality at Lightspeed Commerce, which provides payment systems to the hospitality industry. He says taking advantage of that kids menu is part of a broader trend in changing dining habits, including nearly 1/3 of customers walking out over long waits, and 40% saying rude service would keep them from returning.
There's this interesting dynamic of people expecting more in terms of the experience, but also, trying to balance out what they are willing to spend money on and what they're choosing to eat.
And despite some tipping fatigue, most people still recognize the value of good service.
I have a lot of friends in the service industry, so I know what it's like and what their wages are, so I try to be respectable about that.
One trend on the rise, solo dining, with 55% eating alone by choice. Nick Zechevich, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, Kathleen. Listen, I can understand getting off the kids menu. Like, portions are smaller. You're looking to, be calorie conscious or whatever. But, it's purely trying to save a buck. It's like, it doesn't sit right with me. And I know a lot of restaurants, they're not going to check your kid's ID if it's says 12 and under, and they're going to be like, all right, fork over some ID here. But if you're clearly an adult, I can imagine restaurants being like, no, I'm sorry. You're not ordering off the kids menu. We appreciate the fact that you did the junior jumble. Very good, but no.
Well, that's what I got to thinking is restaurants, are they going to start pushing back? Because, if you go in there, it's 2 adults and you order 2 kids items, are they going to question that or push back,
Yeah, and also too, let's be honest, and I'm as a proud parent who has eaten off their kids' plate many a time, the kids' food is never quite as good. Like if you get a kid's hamburger, it's going to quite literally be bun, meat, bun, and then you can put a little ketchup or mustard or whatever on it. But they're not going to put a pickle on there. They're just not going to put lettuce or onions or none of that's coming on it. Very plain Jane.
Right, and it's limited choices too. Usually you just have 3 or 4 choices on the kids menu. You don't have the full menu.
Although I do take a great deal of pride when there is a maze and I can solve it right away. I'm like, look at that. So
Well,
plus they don't also have 32-ounce Miller Lite on the kids menu, and that's usually
no, and that's a good thing.
Thank you for clarifying that. I'm glad that you on News 6 Extra are the voice of reason, that we don't want children drinking 32 ounces of Miller Lite.
No.
The line must be drawn somewhere. Speaking of where we draw the line, barbecue inspired deodorant. You heard those words correctly. They were written on the sheet in front of me. Progresso has the soups are really good. I've had the Pitmaster soups. They're very tasty, but they are rolling out a new barbecue inspired called Pit Kit. It is designed to make you smell like you've been on the grill all day. That's not necessarily a great smell. I'm all for one with the nice aroma of a steak over some charcoal briquettes, or maybe you got the smoker going with a little mesquite in there, but I don't want to smell like that. There's a reason why you go get a shower. This is not good. It's been a while since I've gone through the book of Revelations, but I'm pretty sure this is what happens when you crack the 4th seal. I'm not. Okay. Thoughts, Kathleen? $15 for the man in your life. You'd want him smelling like this?
I don't think so. I do like the smell of mesquite in the briskets when you are grilling, but I'm not sure I'd want him to smell like this all the time. And, maybe a good gag gift or, stocking stuffer as a joke, but I wouldn't want him to wear that all the time.
Every time we get one of these, I wonder how much of it is just some marketing whiz at one of these companies that's like, haha, we'll send this out. It's a joke. It doesn't really exist, but they'll have to then show our product and talk about us as we're currently doing and give, Progresso Soup some free ad time. But yeah, this sounds absolutely terrible.
No.
But I could be wrong. They make all kinds of deodorants with sandalwood smell, but it's like sandalwood and vanilla.
Right. This is just I don't know. I don't know if I would like that. I would have to smell it to see for sure, but just on the surface, no.
Still probably better than Axe body spray. Writ
Oh,
large.
okay. Okay.
There's something about Axe body spray. Maybe it's because that came out like at the formative time in my life when so many young men, including myself, were like, I don't need a shower today, man. The Axe body spray is gonna get this job done. And it never got the job done. You just smelled like BO and Axe body spray.
Right. Just kind of masked it a little bit. Yeah. Didn't really solve the issue.
No. All right. Okay, so I mentioned that we are finally into October. It's Halloween. Events are popping up here at Click Orlando. We have you covered. The spooky guide. We do the thing. Ooh, spooky guide. It's up. It's on the website right now. You can find it on the homepage, clickorlando.com. Details on all kinds of events, including a petrified forest in Altamont Springs. Ooh. Where are you going, Kathleen? You don't get a leave for this. We're not just done talking about the spooky guide. I see you trying to sneak out. You're like, I can't handle much more of this barbecue deodorant conversation. I just leave.
I'm not much. I don't want to be scared, so I don't think the petrified forests would be for me. I'm more of like pumpkin patches, hayride. Mickey's not
things.
so scary. I don't want to be scared. The world's scary enough.
Yes, I was not even going to talk about this with you. I brought you back for one specific reason. Apparently, Taylor Swift's album is dropping.
It is.
And the world is losing its daggum mind. So
true.
This is all happening. Over that shoulder is Lupe, who works here. She is a huge T Swift fan. She is excited, as are, I would say, half the employees here at Channel 6, News 6.
Oh yeah, tomorrow's Taylor Swift Day.
Tell me what's going on with this. I am blissfully unaware. Her new album is dropping, right?
It's dropping at midnight.
Oh.
The Life of a Showgirl. There's also a movie associated with it that's going to be in some theaters. Lupe is going to it. I'm not, but Lupe is. And yeah, there's big excitement about it. And what are the songs going to be? What are they going to be about? Is she going to?
Oh, they haven't released any of these yet.
No,
they haven't released any of these songs.
No.
Like, there's not like a single that's already come out and the album's dropping. No, this is all.
No, this is all going to be new. And Taylor Swift, whether you like her or not, is great at marketing and great at building up this anticipation for any of her new music. So it'll be exciting to see.
Listen, I don't have a beef with Taylor Swift. I have no beef whatsoever. Her music's not for me. But then again, I mean, but I'm not. If you go to one of the record labels that is producing her stuff and ask them, do you think Taylor Swift should be marketed to a 46-year-old man with 2 kids, a wife, and a mortgage? They would say no. That is not her target demographic.
Right.
And that's fine. That's not a 5-finger death punch. Maybe they're looking at me and they're like, there's a guy we can get, but not Taylor Swift. But that's fine. It's fine. People are allowed to enjoy their stuff. Her last tour, the Eras tour, had like a noticeable impact on our economy. Like, it actually added a bump to the GDP. That's something to be said.
I mean, she definitely has a strong fan base. I've liked her newer albums. The ones earlier, but the newer ones, I really like her writing and her lyrics. So maybe eventually you'll get on board, become a Swiftie.
Maybe. I have met her.
You've met? Wait a sec. Now you're bearing the lead.
Met is a very strong word. She was touring her way through Disney's California Adventure. I spotted her passing by, and I grabbed a quick kind of like half selfie as she walked by.
Well, that's closer than I've ever been.
I was as close as Jack Ruby to Lee Harvey Oswald. That's probably not a good comparison. I shouldn't say that. I was within a couple of feet of her.
Well, hey, that's closer than I've been. So I'm a little jealous about that.
So T Swift. Oh, I'll be discussing her in my class today. One of the UCS students a couple years ago was tracking her plane for its carbon footprint. And her attorney sent a cease and desist So we'll be discussing that in my law class today. So T-Swift everywhere. Everyone's getting T-Swift out. We love Taylor. God bless her for all her hard work. And God bless you, Kathleen, for all your hard work.
Oh, well, thank you.
You are, without a doubt, the Taylor Swift of the News 6 newsroom.
Oh, well, thank you. I will wear that.
In your many eras or whatever that is that she's doing. But thank you.
True.
Thank you.
You
Thank
are
you for
very
putting
welcome.
together today's show and all your hard work. Thank you to David for doing the weather and letting us know about all the rain that's coming our way. And of course, thank you for watching. We'll be back here at 12:30 tomorrow to do this over again. I think Penny will be joining us. Kathleen has a much-deserved day off. So we'll be back here to do this all over again tomorrow. Of course, we'll be on the air today starting at 4 o'clock with the latest on what's going on in Palm Bay, as well as an investigative report into the Epic universe and the investigation into the death there on the roller coaster. We'll have that coming up, as well as Matt Austin speaking to two members of our Central Florida congressional delegation about the shutdown of Democrat and Republican to get what it is that they're doing to try and resolve this, if anything. That all starts at 4 o'clock on News 6. Otherwise, we'll be back here tomorrow for News 6 Extra at 12:30. Thank you for watching. We'll see you then. Bye.